So ethnic studies is important to me because in the future, we're all going to be global citizens in a global community. And to be responsible global citizens, the first step is to embrace one's own culture. And a positive way to do that and an efficient way to do that is to offer an ethnic studies course or be able to take it. Just because through ethnic studies courses, we learn a lot about where our culture originated from, where we come from, where our ancestors come from, about institutionalized oppression, especially if you're an ethnic minority in a society that's pretty much Eurocentric. And a lot of that, if you're an ethnic minority who's living in a Eurocentric society, a lot of complications can come with like low self-esteem, not really understanding who you are, not being proud of who you are, and that could lead to like decrease in academic performance, relationship building, and whatnot. So ethnic studies gives people pretty much, I guess, confidence in who they are, but at the same time, sort of helps them also, in a way, respect other cultures. And it's through that respect that we could also not just build a better country, but once again, a better world, just because in the future, it's all about like a global community. And if colleges offer it, I don't see why not a school institution with the motto, college is for certain. I don't know why we're not offering it, especially if it involves a lot of benefits for our students. Research from youthradio.org did mention that if ethnic studies courses are offered and students do take it, there is an increase in graduation rates as well as passing standardized tests. So if it's also backed up by research, it's only more likely that we should offer it here at Aspire Pacific Academy. As an ethnic minority myself, it's also important for me, being here at Aspire Pacific Academy, it would give me great pleasure and I guess gives great pride if my students, even future students, past students, had the opportunity to take an ethnic studies course, just because me, myself, as an ethnic minority, especially at Aspire Pacific Academy, where there's not a lot of Asian American representation, I would love it if my students could participate in an ethnic studies course, just so, I don't know, I wouldn't want to say like gives me a peace of mind, but it would make me feel, I guess, more comfortable knowing that not only are they going to be prepared to be responsible global citizens, it also gives me a sense that we're sort of all in this together, regardless of what ethnicity you come from.
Well, ethnic studies is important to me because I didn't take an ethnic studies course until I got to college, and I learned valuable information, not just about myself, but other people's histories. And it made me more well-rounded, more understanding of other people's cultures, struggles, and it made me be able to collaborate and understand them much more at a deeper level. And it gave me more ambition and energy to be able to fight harder for what I wanted to dream for, what I wanted to be.
I think there's a lot of reasons why ethnic studies, why it's important that we incorporate it into Aspire's curriculum. In my experience, when there is not a racially diverse curriculum, it creates dangerous situations, and it creates an environment where dangerous mindsets about people who are different than us are perpetuated, and there are really concrete consequences to that. There's physical consequences to that. And when I also think about Aspire's mission of College for Certain, I wonder how we expect to prepare students for a racially diverse world and a racially diverse culture in college if we're not replicating that at the high school level.
It's important to me because it helps me learn about my culture and like where I'm from.
Ethnic studies is important to me because it teaches about like our backgrounds and our cultures, and it just doesn't focus on one certain race. It like focuses on everything, which is like something we should all learn because at our school like there's different cultures that we should all learn.
Ethnic studies is important to me because it could affect the future generation
of like Hispanic people or just people in general, like it could help them like get their grades up and like graduate like with a better GPA.
El estudio étnico es importante para mí porque otras personas pueden también aprender de cosas que no saben de historia y todo eso.
I believe ethnic studies is important because I need a lot of people, not a lot, I don't need it, but I would like a lot of people to know about like not my life, my people, how they live, and I know it's very important to people who are like me, same color, the same backgrounds, and the same struggles they face. And I think as a community or as a class, people that can relate need to be informed of how it was like. So I believe that's why I believe it's important to have ethnic studies.
Ethnic studies is important to me because I get to learn more about the history of my culture, but also I get to learn the faults and mistakes they did in the past, so I can learn from those experiences and use them in present terms.
Ethnic studies is important to me because it helps me learn about my traditions and my cultures that my ancestors passed along.
It is important to me because I am learning about my ancestry, you could say, and about other people's backgrounds and what exactly they fought for and what actually happened back then.
Ethnic studies is important to me because later on in the future, I'm gonna meet people in different races, and the more I know about races, the more I'll be able to interact with people in different races.
Ethnic studies is important to me because before I came to Aspire, I used to be a student who had poor grades and was picked on because I was considered a retard in my school. But then eventually Aspire changed everything around, especially when I got to ethnic studies, because one, I got to learn more about my culture and the terms and stuff that I didn't even know. And it also gave me a better view about ethnic difficulties and problems in the U.S. and our world in general. So it's important to learn that as a student, but also as someone of of an ethnic group, because sometimes if you don't know your culture, it's like you have no identity. You don't know who you really are, or where you come from, or what your family is.
Curious.
Bullshit.
Pointless.
Avoided.
Disappointed.
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 Disappointed. Upset.
Confundido.
Disappointed. Disappointment.
Disappointed.
Disappointed.
Devastated.
Disappointment. Disappointed.
Avoided.
Robotic.
Frustrated.
Mad. Raging.
Frustrated.
Useless.
Disappointed.
Shocked. Disappointed.
Conflicted.
Disappointed.
Disappointed.
I think my response is, geez, that's actually a pretty hard question. I think I feel the frustration of my colleagues, and I empathize with that frustration. I would also really like to see some more concrete steps taken, and honestly, I think that there was more space for people to take responsibility. This is not a new issue at Aspire, and it was disappointing to see that this was like a reactive way of going about it versus a proactive way. Like, they should have kind of known that this was coming. So it was also surprising to me that they hadn't already been thinking about these issues, and it was disappointing.
My response to the letters was that I feel like we didn't really get an answer. We just got a maybe or I'll take into consideration. We would have liked a yes or a no, so that just wasn't good enough.
thank you for sending some or writing a response back, and I hope it's not something that you brush aside and wait until the last minute or anything like that.
Letters is that I thought it was bullshit the way we took our time to make a letter that was meant for them, and all they did was, oh, thank you.
I felt upset because I took time to write the letter to respond what I actually feel towards what's going on and what my opinion is, so I could get a response that wasn't like really worth what I wrote.
I wanted a straightforward answer.
My response is that, again, like, it's really disappointing because they said that they care about us, but they're just dodging it and they're not addressing it.
I thought that Kate Ford, she put the topic to the side. She kind of avoided the question and wasn't specific on what she would be doing about the topic. And I thought that Karen Hack, she was committed to do something about it. She said that she was going to talk to her team and let us know she would do something, but she wasn't specific about it either.
My response to the letters is basically how I said, devastated, because I was expecting much more. With all due respect, I like how they complimented us, specifically Caroline Hack. She complimented our classroom and how we did our letters, but overall I wanted more from it. I wanted a demand, something that was for sure to be happening, not just, as much as I like the compliments, I would want more than a compliment. I want something being done. Like, the least they could have done is at least give us something positive to make us feel like something's gonna happen, there's gonna be a change to it.
My response to the letters is that it wasn't very clear due to the subject we asked for.
My response to the letters is to give us at least some point of view of what you really are going to do instead of leaving us hanging, because you told us what we did well in the letters. You told us that it's good to have a passion for something and to follow what we believe is right. But you didn't exactly say that you were gonna make it a priority to look into ethnic studies. You kind of just left us hanging. You avoided the entire thing and the entire topic we were addressing you about, and you didn't correct our thoughts of what ethnic studies was, or like you didn't say, oh, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna put it as priority. You instead just left us in the dark and avoided everything, saying what we did well instead of saying like what you are gonna do.
I think, like I said before, I think I wanted to hear some more ownership and some more responsibility being taken. And I think everybody wanted to hear some really concrete next steps for how things are going to change.
I wanted to hear if they really care about us and if they care about our needs.
What I wanted to hear from the letters was a way they would actually help us achieve the goal of making it a college requirement or at least a class.
I wanted to hear that the board would approve that the anesthetics class would be required to graduate.
I just wanted to hear like a straightforward, like, yes, we're gonna do this, or like, no, like, unfortunately we can't do that, or something. My response to the letters was that I feel like we didn't really get an answer. We just got a maybe or I'll take into consideration. We would have liked a yes or a no, so that just wasn't good enough.
What I wanted to hear from the letters was to at least some view of what was going to happen next, instead of hearing what we did good or what was right, that it was right of us that we sent the letters, because now we are just left hanging. We don't know what's going to really happen, or if it's gonna even, like, anything's gonna happen at all.
I wanted a good response. Like, I wanted to know what they were gonna do to take action and like what we had told them.
What I wanted to hear from the letters was more of a deadline, you could say, and more reassurance.
I wanted to hear a straight up answer telling us when your decision is going to be made, like in a month, next year.
I am tired of seeing my community, my students, being deprived of something that is their right. It should not be an option. It should be necessary.
I think a decision is needed because the integrity of Aspire's mission is at stake. And if there are students and staff members who are questioning their commitment to the schools, then there's no way that we can achieve our mission, which is college for certain. It just won't be possible without that commitment and that investment.
Because I don't want to feel like I'm brushed aside.
I think a decision is needed because I don't want to stand here like waiting for a response that might never come.
I think a decision is needed because we need to know if our voices are being heard and if they're understanding what we need from them.
I think a decision is needed because it can affect the future of many students.
I think a decision is needed because all 8 of us put effort into our letters that we sent to both of you guys.
Una decisión es necesitada porque así personas pueden estar igualados en qué es lo que va a pasar entre el tema que está pasando.
I wanted to hear an actual response, like yes, and explaining, like a straight up response saying yes, I could do this, or a no, like no, I won't be able to do this, and like because, not just like oh, like giving a turn to what we asked for the person to do.
I think a decision is needed to at least give us students of an ethnic class some view of what is going to happen and what is next for us to do, as well as to give us some hope that maybe ethnic studies is going to become a course throughout Aspire, or at least in our schools, so that we can have ethnic studies as at least an elective or something. Because the decision is like, it gives us reassurance, it gives students reassurance of what is going to happen, or at least say that we did what was right and we had our voices heard instead of having things avoided.
Now.
As soon as possible.
Now.
I'd like a response after winter break.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
Right now?
Quiero en un mes y medio.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
Now.
I want it now.
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 As soon as possible.
Now. After Christmas break.
Now.
By the end of this year.
Now.
First month of 2019.
Now.